All right, welcome back to the pod. Rich and Todd here.
Hey guys, so for this video we're going to give, in no real order, a top card in the new Capena for Magic the Gathering. So first off, we're going to start with Abnixolus, the adversary. Todd, if you want to give the first thing here.
Yeah, this card is the best in the set, and here's why. So basically, it could do a lot of things for only 3 and 3. As Casualty X, that's a new mechanic, and it says when you play a Casualty X, the copy isn't legendary and has a starting loyalty of X. And then what it does as you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature with X power, and when you do, you can create a copy of it and choose a new target for the copy. Then for the abilities, you could +1 it. Each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. And if you control a demon or a devil, you gain 2. So, yeah, it does allow your opponents to pick and choose, but either way, they're discarding or losing a life. So, either way is good. And then it has 3 loyalties, so you could either +1 or you could -2. -2 is create a 1/1 red devil token, and then when it dies, deal 1. That one's I'm not really feeling that one, but if it's aggressive 3 and then you could +1 -2 +1 -2, it's okay.
Yeah, it's not really bad.
It's not bad, but it's not terribly great either. Casualty is what you probably want to be playing this for, copying things. The ultimate, -7, target player draws 7 cards and loses 7 lives. Typically, this would either be you, unless your opponent has 7 or less life, then it could be a finisher. That could be good. But otherwise, I think they had to make it 3 loyalty, because if you bring this in with anything that doubles the counters, then it would be 6, so you'd still have to +1 it. That makes sense. I think with the new Planeswalkers, they're doing this now where if you had, those enchantments that double up your counters, you could just bring it in and then bring it in, a new one in ultimate. This one makes more sense. It's 3, and then even if you double the counters, it's still at 6. So it'll be around. You could get 1 go around before doing it, and then at the very least, if you have 6, it's kind of hard to get this off the board. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you just say you play the -2 to create a 1/1 red devil, just off the bat, saying this one, and then you go ahead and you sacrifice some other stuff for casualty. Specifically, if like in Commander 2, with this, just being able to copy other creatures when they're already spent is, I think, quite interesting. But as I was saying earlier, you -2, you sacrifice it, and then you have another one, and then you do the same thing. So, as you said, it's kind of difficult to get off.
It's due to the price. It's people speak with their wallet, and it's the most expensive card on the list so far. We'll go on to the next one.
So the next one I'm quite excited for. The next one is Bootlegger's Stash. This card is an artifact, and basically it states that lands you control have tap and create a treasure token. Now, that's great and all. The biggest thing that makes this great is that you tap your land, you have a treasure token. So now you have a treasure token. The treasure token allows you to add any color of mana just by sacrificing it. So in that terms, your land is recursive. So you tap the land, you still have a treasure token on the field now. And that's great because you end your turn, you still have the mana on your opponent's turn. Come your turn, your land's on tap, you still have that mana that you just got. tap all your lands, you got a bunch of treasure tokens. End your turn, they're still there, you still have mana. Your opponent ends, you untap your lands again. It's just recursive mana over and over again. And for 6 mana to bring it out, that's pretty great. And that gives you the ability to play pretty much just about any color in your deck because it fixes everything.
Yeah. I've been seeing this. Is this one overhyped? Is this one underhyped? People are kind of have mixed feelings on this one specifically. The lands, bootleg stash for 5 and a green artifact. Lands you control create a treasure token. Yeah, treasure tokens are great in that sense. Is it too good, or is it, maybe if it said like a food token or a clue token, maybe would have been more appropriate. 6 mana feels about right because in green you could just ramp to 6 anyways. That's what you want to do anyways.
Yeah.
So 6 is fine. What do you think?
Yeah, it is. Because, as you said, is it too good or is it just kind of plain? If it was less than 6, I think it would be broken.
Yeah, you gotta bear in mind that, like, if you're probably playing this as your only spell the turn.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it says like 6 and then lands you control have tap to create, I mean, you probably don't have any lands left over. So basically, you're skipping your turn to play this.
Yeah.
You've lost a turn, but you have this now.
This is kind of more of a win more card.
Yeah. If you have 6, you could do a lot with 6 mana anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is kind of like the nail in the coffin. Is it overhyped? Is it just right? We'll see.
I really think it does well in ramp decks because if you can bring it out, turn 2, turn 3, ahead of your opponent, then I think it's great. But if it's just kind of a splash in, I don't think it really works that well. But yeah, for green or just ramp, with Simic, I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's really overhyped, but I think that it's looked upon a little too well.
Well, quick question: do you think this would be banned?
I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think it would be banned.
Some are calling for it to be banned.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I really don't think, at least right now, we'll have to see what it does in the meta, but I don't think it should be banned for the moment, but we'll see what happens. So we're gonna, unless you have anything else to say about it?
Just one last thing. It is splashable because it's only 1 green.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really care as much, but treasure token, if it just said like a food or a clue token or something else, but that's almost too good. But we'll go on to the next one.
Okay, so the next one is Arcane Bombardment. I'm actually fairly excited about this for CEDH, specifically with my deck that I run, which is, it's a copy deck. So this card, if you're going to do it, whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard. Then copy each card exiled with Arcane Bombardment. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana cost. And this is an enchantment. It costs 6. 2 reds, 4 of whatever. And then, when you cast your first instant or sorcery spell, you exile one or the other at random from your graveyard. Then you get a copy of it. And you can cast them for free.
Yeah, this card I'm kind of conflicted on. It seems good. It cheats out things, but it's at random. But it is consistent as your first instant or sorcery. This is what players might call cute, right? It's like this. It does work, but it's kind of That's cute. It's like, would I play it? In Standard, maybe. But not in Modern. You'd probably die before that. EDH, yeah. CEDH, I think it's a little too slow for CDH. I could definitely see the appeal, though.
Yeah. I think this would work okay in Kark and Sakashima because they can ramp out mana real quick, and you got if you activate this, then you have an instant activate. Anything that's been lost gets copied anyways and just gets played again. The majority of the time, you're going to not have that many instants or sorcery spells in your graveyard in the first place.
But then again, it gets copied and exiled. I just don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, I'm good on this one. Any other thoughts on it?
Not really, no.
No, on to the next one. This one, we got Rafine Schemers here. So it's a Esper, a white, blue, and black mana. So 3 mana for a 1/4 Sphinx Demon. It has flying and ward 1, so that's already, pretty decent. Also a legendary, you could use it as your commander. And it says whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives, which is a new mechanic. It connives X, where X is the number of attacking creature, and connives is draw X cards, discard X cards, put a 1/1 counter on that creature for each non-land card discarded this way. I actually really like this. This is good because it's whenever, and then also connive X. So it's not just one time. You could do it multiple times. Connive, drawing X cards, discarding X cards. So you don't get card advantage, but you get selection, which is still good. And even if you got nothing, it's like you have nothing in hand, and then you draw X and discard X. We're still in black and white, so you could reanimate whatever you discarded. And then even if nothing else, you're putting 1/1 counters. So I like it.
Yeah, and it's got evasion with flying too. So and with ward, it's fairly evasive. It's got 4 for toughness. So even if you end up getting hit or whatever, you can technically use this to block, at least smaller ones. But yeah, the entire thing about whenever it attacks, you get to draw X wherever the amount of attacking creatures, and then that creature ends up getting X amount of +1/+1 counters that don't go away.
No, it doesn't go away. Plus, you could use these for you could get Rafine out early, and then you could just keep swinging with small creatures, small flyers, and then just pump them up.
Yeah.
Tokens, pump them up. Mm-hmm. Now you have the best of both worlds because you have a lot of tokens, and each turn, one or two of them is going to get really big, right? This is a good card.
And the other part about the conniving thing, already being in blue and black, you have good tutors and drawing, but the amount of draw power that this thing offers, the consistency, is astounding. I mean, every single turn, at the very least, you get 1 connive, because Rafine can attack. So every single turn, you get to draw a discard, Rafine gets +1/+1. He just gets bigger and bigger, and he's a fairly evasive creature, and you get other things out, you keep drawing more, discard more, buff up your stuff, get things in the graveyard, reanimate, as you said. It's overall a great creature. Great, I might actually have to look into doing some kind of commander for that.
So at first I was actually thinking tokens, but, he does have ward and flying. Is this an Ultron commander?
Could be. That would actually be great.
Right?
Pump the guy up, and then just keep pumping him, make him eventually... Can he be removed?
Yeah, but for 3, and then you remove him, okay, so you pay 5. And then you pay 7. That's doable. Plus, again, he's a 1/4, okay, but he has flying and ward. and you're going to pump him up with Ultron, and you're going to give him Hexproof, and you're going to give him Island Walker, unblockable, what have you, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be a nightmare because you're trying to kill him and he's just flying in ward 1/4. He's just going to go up from there. He's going to have like 10 toughness by the time. Just what are you going to do? Yeah, that's a good one. So we'll go on to the next one. We'll just label all of these as the same thing. Triomes. New Triomes. I believe enemy colors. I could be mistaken. Coming in tapped. Can tap for, in this case, we're looking at Rafine's Tower. White, blue, black. 3, obviously, for Triomes. It does come in tap, but hey, it's good for if you have anything over 3 or more, so 3 color decks, 4 color, 5 color, this is basically an auto include. And then if you don't need them, you could always cycle them for 3. What would be great if it was like cycling 2, discard this card, draw a card. Maybe that would be too powerful, but hey, I dig it. Just one, this is in addition to what we already have. And we already have shock lands and fetch lands. This is in addition to. So
right. What I think makes this special is having the cycling added onto it, in addition to the fact that it's 3 different mana on it. So it's like if you already have a land base out that you're good with, and you need to dig into your deck, then you have that ability with this. It's just additional draw power in a deck that already has good, specifically for Rafine's Tower, how it has blue and black. It's already got draw power in it, and if you do include this with Rafine, then that's even more draw power. And obviously it's good for bringing Rafine out because it's got all 3 of the colors that you need, so it's great fixing in all areas. Discard a card, draw a card. You got a card in your hand that you can't use, ditch it, grab another card. You got reanimate stuff, then you're good to go with that.
Yeah, especially in the Standard. Standard's a lot, the mana base, it's just harder to have multicolors in a Standard. Modern's no problem, and then obviously, basically anything but Standard, because you could use shock lands and tap lands and all of them to fix your mana base. But in Standard, this is definitely good.
Yeah, majority of the dual or triple lands in Standard they come in tapped.
Yeah.
So the next one is going to be a legendary artifact. Luxior Giada's Gift. It's 1 mana, and this card's pretty great for Ultron. So basically, equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. Now that's great because this also says that the permanent isn't a planeswalker and is a creature in addition to its other types. So not only can the loyalty ability still be activated, but they count as counters, obviously. So if it comes in as a 3 loyalty, that's 3 counters. Now it's got 3/3 on it, and you can still play its loyalty. So it just keeps getting stronger, and it only costs 1 to equip it to a planeswalker, and you don't have to equip it to a planeswalker. You can equip it to anything for 3. So if you've got like Super Friends, this would do pretty good in Super Friends. With the Traxa?
With the Traxa, anything that you want to proliferate, anything that you want to double counters or put counters on, this would be great. So at first, I was thinking, well, this would be good for Planeswalkers, because if it's a 4 mana Planeswalker, well, then, 4 loyalty, it would just be a 4/4, and then you could make it +1 or +2, and then you could give it another counter and counter and counter. And then I kind of forget, it's like, it says 1/1 for each counter on it. If you give this to a creature, equip it to a creature with a counter, it basically doubles it. I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I know it costs, 1 is good for, equipment coming down, and then I know it costs 3. But 4 mana to double up the number of counters you have, right? And then you could just, if it gets destroyed, it's already out. Pay 3 to double the amount of counters effectively on the next creature. I mean, this is great for creatures too. This is a win-win. This is a home run.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all around. It's great. But I think the one thing that really is kind of a standout is, not only is it a creature and it gets the +1/+1s, but as I said earlier, you can still activate the abilities. And every time you activate loyalty abilities, if it's a plus, not only are you getting an ability, but it's getting stronger. So it's basically, like the one that we were talking, Abnixolus, you play his ability, and he goes up by 1 every single time.
And that just makes him even harder to take out.
Yeah. All right. Unless you got anything more to say.
Nope.
So.
Yes. Man, I have so much to talk. Lord Xander, the Collector. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. This card got so much hype pre-release, I swear. This was a $60 pre-release price. Now, of course, every card pre-release is going to be more expensive. They don't know what it is, so they put in the highest, and then it's a race to the bottom. We get it. We know. No card is worth that amount. But it went from $60 and it took a hard fall down to $5 right now. It's in about $5, $6, $7, which I think is fair for it. It's just crazy. This, in terms of money, I don't think this is even top 10 when it comes to Streets of New Capena. This was literally number 1 pre-release. It wasn't even close. For those that don't know, Lord Xander, the Collector. It's 4 islands, swamp, and mountain. So 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 total. So it's kind of hard to get out, but it's got all the right colors. Legendary creature can be your commander. Also, vampire, demon, noble. So demon, noble, not so much for tribal, but hey, vampire. Maybe vampire, demon, tribal, this could be good.
You can even cheat them out with, I forget the name of the commander, but it's an angel commander that cheats out demons.
Yes. And it says when Lord Xander enters the battlefield, so its ETB is target opponent discards half the cards in their hand, rounded down. So that's good. And then when it has an attack trigger, defending player mills half their library down. That's good. And when it dies, target opponent sacrifices half non-land permanents. That one's really good.
Yeah.
Rounded down.
And this thing right here could go astoundingly well in what I was just talking about. If you include this in there, you have the ability to search this out. And when you do that, you attack with the commander, cheat this guy out during the battle phase, and you're still able to attack with them. So now your opponent ditches half their hand, and you're attacking with him, which means they ditch half their library, and then you use the Abnixolus, the pure black one that allows you to sacrifice.
Or if you have a sack outlet.
Yeah, or that. Then it goes straight to the graveyard. You got all 3 in just one quick moment. And then, so yeah, you bring it out, hand's gone, half the hand's gone, half the library's gone, sack outlet, now half their field's gone.
Yeah, we were looking for Cali the Vast.
Yeah.
That's who did it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's already an established commander that you could just literally okay, now you have another toy in that EDH deck. So, on to the next one.
So the next one is Giada, Font of Hope. It's a 1 and plains. Legendary creature, so again, it can be your Planeswalker. Commander. It's got flying and vigilance, so it's evasive, and it stands after it attacks. So it states that each other angel you control, so you got an angel with Cali, enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you already control. And its next ability is you can tap it to add a white and spend it only to cast an angel spell. And it's also a 2/2.
Yeah, this is a nice card. This could be your. Can it be your commander? I don't know, because it's a little too how do they say, narrow. But in an angel deck, of course, 100%. This is great because it works during turn 1. It works during turn 5 because each other angel you control enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each one you already control. So basically, it doesn't penalize you for not having angels. And you could also use this early game to ramp out an angel. So either way, you're either getting counters for the angels you have, or, when you put down an angel, you get a counter. So either way, you're good. This is great for angels, of course. Would I put it in too many other decks? Not really, but hey, for what it does, it's solid, especially for 2. You could easily make this 3.
Yeah, and I really do advocate this to go into Kalia, because this will help you get Cali out earlier. I think it's a 4 mana, Cali.
I think Kalia? It is, yeah.
Yeah. So, you can get her out on turn 3 then with this, or earlier. And not just, turn 3. And as I said, it's evasive, and Kalia comes out bigger than what she was.
Yep.
So, and Kalia being 2/2? I think she's a 2/2, Kalia?
No, Tally's a 4 mana.
No, 2/2. Power toughness.
Oh, yeah, you got me.
Yeah, it's a 2/2, so it's kind of small when you're attacking. Yes, it is evasive because it's got fly, but it can be toppled. So if your opponent's got something out to block, flying, coming out as a 3/3 on turn 3, even if it gets chump blocked, it should be able to survive at turn 3, especially in Commander. So yeah, it is 2/2.
Yeah. It's Cali of the Vast. It's a human cleric. Flyer, 2/2, for those that don't know. Whenever Kalia attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon.
Oh, so we were wrong then. You can't really use to bring Cali out.
No, because it's a human cleric.
Yeah.
But all the ones that are in your hand or that you want to hard cast, you could still do.
That is true. But looking at that, why would you...
Angel Tribal,
yeah, though. Why would... If the only real reason to include that would be to bring Cali out, but Cali is... I thought she was an angel.
She looks like an angel.
Yeah. Yeah, she does. But if you've got Cali out, then... Well, I guess if you don't have Cali out and Cali has been removed, now it's a 6, and you don't have that much mana, you can just use her to hard cast. So, I mean... It's a give or a take, I guess. Alright, so on to the next one.
Yeah, this one I really like. I'm kind of surprised it's kind of low, but then again, it's not a mythic. It's a Void Wren. Void Wren is Esper, white, blue, black. Instant, good. Spell can't be countered, good. Destroy target non-land permanent, good. It really is like for $3, $2 dropping, like, especially in Standard. Standard, this thing is a beast. I understand why it's only like $3, $4, $5. There are other cards like Utter End and Push and other things that only cost 1 or 2, right? But this is a catch-all. This is a catch-all for 3. It's an instant and it can't be countered. Your biggest thing, your enchantments, your commanders, whatever, can't be countered. Non-land permanent. This is great.
Yeah. It certainly is. I mean, just the fact of the can't be countered. If your opponent's got something out that you're having trouble taking care of, if you're playing against blue, they've got a shit ton of counters, and you need to get rid of something. What is that one called? It's red blue. It's the one that comes out. And it has power toughness per the amount of instants and sorceries in your graveyard. You got to banish them. I forgot what it's called. But anyways, yeah, not really much left to say about it. All around, pretty great card.
Yeah, just solid card for what it does.
Mm-hmm.
This one, yeah, I really like this one. I think this is, dare I say, a sleeper? I mean, I don't know how I feel. It's Titan of Industry. It's 4 and 3 green, so 4, 5, 6, 7 total, right? It's an elemental. Reach and trample, 7/7. So 7 for 7/7 reach and trample. Decent. When it enters the battlefield, choose 2. Destroy artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5. Create a 4/4 green rhino warrior. Or put a shield counter. And also, yeah, shield counter. Just basically look at it as totem armor. If it should die, just remove the counter. I really like it. There's not too much else to say about it. I think this card is kind of slept on. What do you think?
Yeah. Part of the reason I think it's pretty good is because you can technically include it in an Amulet Titan. Green doesn't really have that many removal spells.
Yeah.
So, you got destroy target artifact or enchantment, and target player gains 5 life, so it does give you the ability to gain life if you need it, though in Commander that's not really a problem.
Not really relevant, yeah.
Yeah. But another thing of it is when it comes out, you get another creature too if you want, or you can protect one of your creatures. So,
you know what would have been a little bit better, and maybe this might have been too pushed, because I think this one's pretty fair for 7 for a 7/7 reach trampler. I do think this is fair. Would it be too much if instead of gain 5 fights another creature? That would be good, right? Because then it comes down, it's a 7/7 reach trampler. It could fight a problematic creature. It could fight something. Now it's removal. But it's still in green because it fights. So it's not like we're disregarding the color pie, destroy target creature. You're more or less doing that if it said when it comes down, Titan of Industry fights your chosen thing. I think if it just had that one, I wouldn't even mind if it got rid of lose 5 life, or even the 4/4 Rhino. That's cool because you get 7 for what? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for 11 toughness, 11, for 7. That's a pretty good deal by itself. I'd rather have the removal though. Apart from that, what do you think?
Kind of another thing that I think goes with it. That would be annoying. And of course this is win more, but if you put the shield on a questing beast, questing beast is already hard to remove.
Yeah. I think this is good because I always want more for each card, but I think this one for what it does is solid. This is solid. On to the next one.
So the next one we got here is an artifact, Halo Fountain. It's a 2 and white. And its abilities are you pay 1 white and tap it. And you untap a tapped creature you control and create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. So that's great. It basically gives you vigilance to one of your creatures. And then the next one is you pay 2 white and tap. Untap 2 tapped creatures you control. Draw a card. Again, vigilance plus you draw. And the last one takes 5 white and tap. Untap 15 tapped creatures you control, and you win the game. If you're playing tokens, that's not bad. But I feel like the last one isn't really that important, because if you've got 15 tokens, you're probably already winning the game.
Yeah, I think this one is another one of those fair ones. I don't think it's broken. I don't think it's that great either. 3, 2 and a white. I would have loved to see if it was maybe just a generic and a white. I think that would have been a little bit better. But hey, 2 and a white, that's good for standard. I get it. The first two abilities, pretty pimp. The last three, yeah, the last ability is a win more ability. I'm not too concerned about that one.
Yeah, if you've got 15 creatures out and you haven't won the game, then you've probably got an issue there.
Speculation is, well, will this fit into Citizen Tribal? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see too much support with Citizen Tribal. I think 3 mana is fair for it. It is a draw engine. So, I mean, 3, and then you could use it immediately, right? I mean, 5, but then you have to untap 2, draw. I don't know. It's not that great, but, it's not terrible because you could just recur it and recur it. If you have, if you're in blue, you could just draw it, but then you don't get to recur it. Oh, I get it, I think this is okay. It's not really...
I think it's too much money for what it does.
You think, what's this going for? It's going for around $7. You wouldn't pay $7 for this?
I don't think I would. Because when you put this alongside of other cards, like when you look back at...
Well, how about just in Standard?
In Standard? Yeah. It would. But my thing is, like, Void Rend is $2. And I really feel like Void Rend is more,
Is better?
Yeah, it's better. And it's worth less.
But here's the thing. It's recurable.
Yeah, it is, but... Again, it's kind of a win more thing.
Well, not exactly. Because who could use a 1/1? Who wouldn't want an extra draw each turn, right? If you're down, this could get you back in the game. If you need a chump blocker, use your 1/1, right? So this one keeps making tokens, and you keep playing anthems. And all of a sudden, every 1/1 for 1, by the way, becomes 3s and 4s and tokens and 5s and so on and so on. So there's potential. I just think it's just too slow for me. In Standard, it could be okay, but in any other format,
Standard.
Yeah.
Standard's really the only thing that this would work well with. And when I don't really play Standard, which is why I was saying I would look more along the lines of Void Rend.
Yeah.
Void Rend overall is a much better card in every format, pretty much.
Yeah.
And this only really fits Standard, and once this cycles out of Standard, then...
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, if you're competitive, a lot of people, they'll pay the price. They'll pay the price, and then it's 4, right? With EDH, you're only paying 1.
Yeah.
1 card. This Standard, you're paying $7, $14, $28 for a playset. Is it, and then it's going to rotate out. I don't know about that. I mean, I'd rather pay $50 a card and keep it for my other modern, build around it, put in my EDH. I'd rather do that than pay $7 and then in a year or so when it rotates out, get nothing for it. I'd rather pay more and keep it than have it lose value.
Right.
This one, I like this one a lot. And it is cheap because it is an uncommon. But I've already used this in my CEDH decks. I love it already. It's an offer you can't refuse. And I do like the artwork, by the way, on it. It's just a single blue, instant, of course. It's a counter spell. Counter target non-creature spell. And that's a great effect. But the caveat is its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Now, for EDH, this is nothing. Counter a non-creature spell, any non-creature spell, and they get 2 treasure tokens. This is great. This is awesome. I can see where people are like, well, it's non-creature, and can't you just use negate or something else? Yes, you can. Just bear in mind, this is in addition to counter spell. This is in addition to mana drain. This is in addition to negate. Right? I'm not saying this is going to replace it. I'm saying this is nice if you're playing that kind of deck.
Yeah. And, for 1 mana, you can't go wrong. It's live turn 1. Of course, there are decks that this doesn't really do anything against. In fact, playing this against another deck is going to be worse. Playing this against Korok Sakashima, it's pretty much going to do nothing. And the worst part is, if you do counter... one of those cards that it's playing, not only is most likely that card's going to return their hand anyways, you just gave them 2 more artifacts to play it again.
I get it, but that was going to happen anyways.
Yeah.
So, and again, this is an additional 2. So you're not going to, if you see this, simply mulligan for your mana drains and your counter spells, your kill spells. Just mulligan until you get one of those instead of this one. Not everything is going to be Quark tier 0. There's going to be a lot of non-creature spells. Maybe in your Quark deck, maybe you put some enchantments that double up things, like the Bombardment.
Yeah.
Right? This would be a good counter for one.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And the thing with this is, it's a great card, but, as you said, not everyone plays Quark. At the end of the day, it's really, what is your meta?
Yeah. Definitely in Standard, though.
Yeah,
this
definitely.
Shit in Standard, right? I mean, come on.
They don't have that many great counters in Standard. So this thing, 1 mana, turn 1, it's live. If you're playing blue, I mean, obviously straight blue, this is great. Even if you splash it in.
The only other thing that I have a question about is, so it says non-creature spell. Are vehicles creatures? Not if they're not crewed.
Yeah.
So, technically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they're not crewed, they're not creatures. Once they're crewed, but they're not crewed when they come in the battle.
Yeah. You might think this is narrow, but non-creatures. Everything but creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
And then
there's more non-creature cards in the game than there are creatures. So, yeah, not much more to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, the next one is Scheming Fence. It's a white-blue human citizen. So, this guy's interesting. He's a 2/3. As he enters the battlefield, you may choose a non-land permanent. You activate abilities of the chosen permanent. The activated abilities of the chosen permanent can't be activated. And Scheming Fence has all activated abilities of the chosen permanent except for loyalty abilities. And you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate those abilities. And that's pretty great. I mean, if you have a creature that has activated abilities that cost mana, they're basically free by playing him. And he's pretty cheap to do it.
Is this card underrated? I mean, he's $1.
Yeah.
2 for a 2/3 with all those text lines for $1.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a sleeper?
Probably. It really depends, because, again, he can go in with Rafine, too.
Yeah. I think what will hang people up is how to play him, because it is quite a bit. So, ETB, choose non-land permanent, activated abilities of the chosen permanent can't be activated. So, here's the thing. So, it copies it, but it's only for activated abilities of the chosen permanent.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to wait, and it doesn't have flash.
No, it does not. Really what this is you have a creature on the field, permanent, I'm sorry. So it can basically take other things, like artifact abilities.
Yeah, mana rocks too. Yeah, that's good.
So if you have a creature that you're going to copy with this, you basically get the activated abilities for free every turn, plus you get a body. But I think the nice thing about this is it can copy non-creatures too.
Yeah. I think it has potential. I think it's a little too wordy. I don't think people will get it. It's like Chains of Mephistopheles or whatever, right? Just if you knew what it did, it could be good. But there's a lot going on here. I don't think people kind of fully, I'm looking at it as it's a little situational. The next one, Ledger Shredder. Okay, let's see what it is. It's a Bird Advisor. It's a 1 and a blue flyer, 1/3. Okay, for 2, a 1/3 flyer. Okay, Bird Tribal. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Ledger Shredder connives. Well, that's just solid. That's solid. And then you're in blue, so you're going to play more than one spell a turn. And then you get to loot and put a 1/1 counter on this creature. That's solid.
Yeah. Especially because blue doesn't really have very many big creatures.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you could have would be Regent. So you got Regent.
Murktide?
Yeah, Murktide Regent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really one of the biggest blue ones that are easy to get out.
And this can come out turn 2 as a 1/3. And then you could cast another spell because...
It says second spell, and this counts as a spell.
Yeah, you could easily get this to a 2/4, 3/5. Let's not be mistaken though. It's not as good as 2-drop of Termagoyf, but in blue, right? I mean, let's not overhype this, but in blue, right? I see it.
It's basically a draw, discard, and buff the creature. And
it
in
loots.
Blue, you don't get very many big creatures, and this can buff. So
yeah, and then you would be forcing your opponent to kill this one, and then when your Murktide comes out, they don't have removal.
Yeah.
Right, so that's good in that
you
sense.
see
too.
this, and it's like, you don't want me to keep drawing. You don't want him to keep buffing.
Yeah.
And you just played your removal. I'm not going to counter it because I'm about to bring out Regent, and I have a counter in my hand.
You'd save the counter for Regent.
Yeah.
And then when you first look at it, it's just like, okay, whatever, it's a 1/3 flyer. And then just like you realize later, it's like, oh, this thing can actually do work. Like, whoops.
And for $13, that's quite a card.
$13, you know what? I'd rather have it a little bit lower, but hey, if people are willing to pay for it.
So this one, I wanted to include without even looking at the effect, because I just love the name, Professional Face Breaker. So,
say less.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
So, the next card is Topiary Stomper. It's a 1 and double green. It's a plant dinosaur, which I'm already interested. Plant dinosaur. Vigilance stands back up. And whenever Topiary Stomper enters the battlefield, you search your library for a basic land card and put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. And that's great. He's basically a cheap thing to bring out. You get land. You've already got probably 3 land at this point, or you've ramped. He can't attack or block unless you have 7 or more lands, but it's the fact that he just brings more land out. And you're going to get to 7 lands really quick, especially if you have this in Amulet Titan.
Yeah. This, I think people are reading this wrong. It's not a 3-mana 4/4 Vigilance creature. It's more of a 3-mana draw a basic land and put it onto the battlefield. That's what you're playing it for, right? It just so happens that it's a 4/4 Vigilance when you have 7 mana. This is a ramp spell that keeps giving.
Yeah.
Right? People are kind of iffy on it. It's like, oh, a creature that can't attack or block. I don't know about that. It's like, dude, don't even worry about it. That's for later. What you're really playing for 3 is a basic land onto the battlefield. Double land this turn, ramp you, and then later on, you get a 4/4 Vigilance Dinosaur.
Yeah. And, you can get this thing out turn 2. So...
Turn 2, ramp you into turn 3, you have 4/5 mana, turn 4... So, it works. It works, and it helps itself, right? So, on turn 3, you get it out. Turn 2 or 3, you get it out. Puts a basic land. It helps itself.
Yep. So, the next one is interesting. It's Elspeth Resplendent. It's a total 5 mana, 3 and 2 white. It's a legendary Planeswalker. So, the effects are as states... It's a +1. You choose up to 1 target creature, put a +1/+1 counter and a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance on it. So basically, you look at this and it's just kind of, it pluses. It gives you more pluses, and you get to basically give a creature one of those abilities. So, you got a +1/+1 on any of your creatures, plus either flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance. If I'm reading that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of toolboxy. Mm-hmm. For any situation that you need, your opponent's playing Death Touch. Okay, +1/+1, first strike. Alright, you're down on health, you need to go up, lifelink. You need blockers, but you need to do damage, vigilance. You need evasion, flying.
Yeah, this is really good. Even, 5 mana is kind of high, but you do get 5. So it's probably going to stick around for a whole turn around the board. And you could, it would be nice if you could make a creature or make a token. But, at turn 5, whatever, you probably already have small tokens out already. You're in white. You put a 1/1 counter on said token against flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance. That's cool. And then you could even... you'll always use the +1. Because if you had a flyer, just give a first strike. If you have a first striker, give a lifelink. Right? If you have a vigil... Right? So you're never not gonna... use +1 in certain scenarios.
Yeah, the next two abilities I would probably never use. The next one is -3. You look at the top 7 cards of your library, and you may put a permanent with a mana value 3 or less from among them on the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. In my opinion, that's nowhere near as good as the +1, so it's not even really worth playing too much.
I disagree, but only if it was built around it. But you're not gonna build around. It's not a commander. But I disagree. I do think top 7 is good enough, especially in standard, right? Because I think you're thinking about EDH, right? And even EDH 7's good, but definitely for standard, it's only 60 cards, so it goes even deeper.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, value 3 or less. Yeah, but I think they kind of make up for it with the shield counter.
Yeah, the only real reason I would use the -3 is if I don't have a target creature on the field when this comes out.
Yeah.
So that would basically be like, you summon this. This is all you got. Mm-hmm. You don't have any creatures on the field.
3. Yep.
Now you -3. You get something out. Even if they sack this, they attack it, they get it out. You got a body on the field. You have a body to block.
You have a body to block, and it has a shield counter, which is basically totem armor, and that's good. And then the ultimate, the -7, create 5 3/3s, angel creature tokens with flying. So you could put this in Angel Tribal if you wanted to. Angels already have first light, but you could give them lifelink or vigilance, what have you.
It's also kind of a finisher.
Yeah. It would be kind of hard to get it to 7, but that's kind of the point. Yeah. So ultimate, you don't want to make where it just comes down on ultimates. That's no fun. Well, it's fun for you, but no fun for the opponent, of course.
However, this would be even better if you include this with what was that called?
The Giada.
Yeah, the Luxia Giada. So now it can target itself, and you can make it evasive now.
Yeah. Well, I'm good on this. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty good on that. There's not much more to say. It is like a $7 card.
I think that's fair.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this would actually be pretty decent in Atraxa.
Atraxa? 1/1 counters? Double up proliferate? Yeah, proliferate? Yeah. I see it.
Yeah, and if you do include the artifact that we were just saying in there, attach it to it, then
it becomes a 5/5, and then it's a creature.
It's a 7/7.
It could target itself.
That's what I meant. That's what I was saying earlier. It's a creature with Atraxa out. This activates, gets 2 counters. So it's a +2/+2, and you get a counter from among these, which activates twice. So you can get flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance. So you can get one. You can basically get 2 of these attached to it every time you activate that from Atraxa.
Also, the shield counters are counters. So when you proliferate, you could double those counters.
Yeah. And the nice thing is, these things, these are counters.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look back at this, it gets +1/+1 for each counter on it.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, it's getting, even if you don't have Atraxa out, it gets 2 counters, so it's a 7/7 as soon as you activate that.
Yeah, that's
8/8.
right. Because it's a 1/1 counter. So it's a 5/5. It turns into a 5/5 base. Then you get a 1/1 counter off the bat, and then you get another counter in an ability. But with the artifact, it says any counter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's counting it too. So yeah, you do.
It's
get
an
8/8.
8/8.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
8/8 with flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance. Eventually, all the above.
Yeah, you don't even need to -7, but if you did, hey, watch out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the next one is Vivienne of the Hunt. On the Hunt. Sorry. It's a total 6. It's 4 and 2 green. Legendary Planeswalker. It has a +2. You may sacrifice a creature. If you do, you search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. You put it onto the battlefield, and then you shuffle. That's pretty decent.
This would be... it's just too high. So this is what you would call a food chain deck. So, effect. So you sack a creature, and then you get something with 1+. Birthing Pod, notorious for this. I don't get me wrong. I definitely love the effect. I do like it a lot better that it's a plus and not a minus. I probably would have made it a minus, actually. But 6 is very high for that. Birthing Pod is only 3. 3 and 1 and 2 life basically is what it really is. But okay, well, you pay 1 to mill 5 and then put any number of creature cards mill this way into your hand. I actually like that a lot more, to be honest with you. I think that's better than the +2.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they made it so, +2, +1. And then for the ultimate, not really an ultimate, but -1, -1 and create a 4/4. To be honest with you, 6 for a 4 loyalty, and then just -1 for 4/4. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're in, like, I can see this definitely in like Mirren or Food Chain or Elves or something like that. But unless you're trying to mill or unless you're trying to sacrifice, hey, 4/4s, 4/4s for 6. I think that's what I would use it for. What do you think?
Yeah. Obviously in Mirren, it's going to be pretty great. So, like with this thing, because this could technically work with, what is that one called, where you look at the top 7 and you put a non-human? What Planeswalker is that? Because that could work with this,
Kennen?
couldn't it? Yeah, Kennen? Because that's not a human,
It's, I believe it's top 5, though. No, it has to be a creature.
Okay. But yeah, then with Mirren would work pretty great with that. But yeah, 4/4s for 6, pretty great. Other than that, it does cost a little too much. If it costs a little less, it would be great, but it's a decent card.
So what about in standard? Is this even high for standard?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think there would be better cards to include.
Is this a more of a already winning card, you'd say?
Yeah, because it's either you're already winning or you don't have any other choice.
It's like not really a finisher, though.
No,
just
it's not.
If this was like 1 and 2 green, right? That would be the shit. But
Yeah.
but like for 6, I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand you're in green and you could ramp to 6, but like if I'm paying 6, I want a finisher.
Yeah. Because otherwise, it's basically, if you're going for a finisher, it's a 6 for a 4/4 that can't attack yet.
I mean, Titan of Industry's better.
Yeah? Or you can just drop, well, this isn't exactly in standard, but I'd rather drop a questing beast than this.
Questing Beast, Elder Gorgoroth is better. Lots of cards are better than this one.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, it's at 7, so someone must find some use for it, maybe.
Yeah.
So.
Or instead of spending the mana on this, drop a Tarmogoyf.
Let's last one.
Okay.
Last one we'll do. This one. The Praetors in specific got some hype, but we haven't seen too many. The set's out. Next one we have here is Urabresk, Heretical Praetor. It's 3 in 2 red. It's a legendary creature, obviously Phyrexian Praetor. It has haste. It's a 4/4 haster. And it says, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library. You may play it this turn. That's pretty good. It's like pseudo card draw. And again, it's in red. It exiles it, but you could still play it. Upkeep. I think that's a good effect already. And then the next line of text, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card, instead they exile the top card of their library. They may play it this turn. Let me read that one more time. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card. So the second time they would draw a card, instead they exile the top card.
Well, no, because you haven't drawn yet. You haven't drawn for your turn on the upkeep. So that basically says when you draw a card, when you draw for your turn.
Huh. Instead they exile the top card of the library. They may play it this turn. So this is like a conditional draw. So they still draw, but they have to play it from exile. Otherwise, it just gets exiled. They don't get to keep it.
Yeah.
Which is still good. And then if you're in red, you're probably hasty. So you don't want them to have cards or counters.
You know what this would be good against? Blue decks.
Blue? Yeah.
Because their counters just leave.
Well, you could still play it the turn, but yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I see your point now.
Because on your turn, you're not really going to do much countering.
You can't countering. Yeah, you have to play it on their turn. Yeah, excellent point. 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4 haster with this effect. It's good. Is it great? Not
really, in my opinion.
No, and that's why it's $7, $6. If you happen to crack this, kind of be mad actually.
Yeah.
Because I think this shouldn't have been a mythic. This should probably have been one below. But yeah, that wraps everything up.
Yeah, it does. Those are kind of the best ones that we think for it, and obviously as the prices show. But yeah, so that's the end of that, and we thank you for watching.
Yeah, see you later.
Adios.